Goodbye, Joseph Lawrence, High Commander. The penultimate episode of Season 6 of The Handmaid's Tale, which will go down as one of the largest, most shocking, and most explosive, quite literally, episodes in the show's history, features the murder of Gilead's architect. It began with what seemed to be victory as the handmaids persisted in carrying out their plot to murder the commanders, but by the end of The Handmaid's Tale Season 6, Episode 9, it had been tinged with tragedy because of Lawrence's passing. Naturally, he wasn't the only character killed there. High Commander Gabriel Wharton's removal was only satisfying for one of the show's last antagonists, while Commander Nick Blaine's death evokes conflicting feelings due to his romance with June Osborne and, more recently, his betrayal. For various reasons, those are significant losses, but what hurts the most is the passing of Lawrence, who Bradley Whitford portrayed so well in the cast of The Handmaid's Tale. Commander Lawrence was the most ambiguous character in The Handmaid's Tale. Throughout the years I've watched The Handmaid's Tale, I've debated a number of times about Lawrence, who has long been the show's greatest mystery. Was he trustworthy? What was his true desire? Which side did he support? He was fascinating to watch because his actions raised these questions all the time with no simple answers. Despite coming from a different background than most commanders, he gave the impression of being a good man, but he was unquestionably responsible for Gilead and all of its problems. He shot down American planes, defended Gilead's borders, and assisted Mayday and June in their resistance. Instead of destroying Gilead entirely, he hoped to use New Bethlehem to transform it from the inside out. Even though he took chances, he made an effort to keep himself safe right up until the very end. Why Lawrence got on the plane in The Handmaid's Tale Season 6, Episode 9. Some of Lawrence's wrongdoings can be justified. He was acting in accordance with his own judgment in order to transform Gilead without risking his life, which would have destroyed all of his hard work. However, he had to choose between pleasing both sides, which would have ultimately caught up with him because the commanders intended to force him to face the wall. Fortunately, he chose the correct side. Lawrence made the most courageous choice of his life by carrying out his plan to kill the commanders on the plane despite the heartbreaking realization that doing so would require his own death. He gave his life to save June, dealing Gilead a devastating blow that will be felt for years to come, and dying to destroy what he had built. It was an amazing conclusion to his journey to watch him make this final choice, as he had always meticulously planned every action and orchestrated everything as much as possible. Naturally, in a sense, Lawrence was continuing to support his late wife Eleanor, the side he had always taken. She was the driving force behind Lawrence's attempts to alter Gilead, and his love for her, as well as for Angela/Charlotte, the young girl he refers to as his daughter, is what truly inspires him to carry out this plan, which only serves to enhance its perfection. The way Lawrence died was both brilliant and heartfelt. June's story was so interwoven with Lawrence's and Eleanor's that it was only fitting that she be present when he made his selfless decision and boarded the aircraft. He bids June and the audience farewell in a moving way during their last exchange, when he looks at her and places his hand on his heart. It was also appropriate that Lawrence had the opportunity to say a few parting words to Nick before the explosion claimed their lives. It's a smart tip of the hat to June's influence to tell him that he should have listened to her and left Gilead when he had the chance. Maybe she could help carry things forward and defeat Gilead in a way he couldn't in life, but that his death goes a long way towards.